Welcome back to the Guy Dawson Show here at WCOBM.com, World Center of Broadcast Media. It is my pleasure to introduce to you today Miss Vanessa W. Chan. She's a documentarian, a media artist, and community organizer. And we are so excited to have you on the show today. You have no idea.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's just jump right in. So the reason why I actually asked you to come on the show is because I was really fortunate enough to watch you in action as you presented the Forced Trajectory Project. So let's go ahead and get started there. Can you tell our viewers exactly what that's about and kind of your motivation and inspiration for that?
Sure. So the Forced Trajectory Project is a long-term documentary project that I've been working on for the last 8 years now. And it's basically an illumination of the families who have been affected by police violence over a long period of time. So that's the it's available on the website.
Yes.
It's been exhibited, hard copies with photos, also film screenings. I do events at currently at UNLV to promote the work and to also highlight family members who can come on and speak on panels.
Absolutely, absolutely. And an interesting fact, too, that I just found out recently and kind of going through your website, which is www.forcedtrajectory.com. And an interesting fact I found out on there was that you've actually won awards for this project.
Yeah, the project's won a few awards.
Yes, yes. And I can see why. Because of I think for me, what really touches me about it is you go into issues that are not being talked about in mainstream media. You go into, you see where these police shootings happen, and then they get put up, not even all of them get actually put out onto the mainstream media, but the ones that do, you maybe hear from the family members once or twice when the shooting happens, and then when the case verdict happens, and then that's it. You don't really get to see any of the trauma and the long-term effects of what something like this does for a family, in a family that it's so hard to get justice for. In these particular situations, they're special and unique in that, it's extremely difficult to basically, convict a police officer.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously times have changed quite a bit the last couple of years, and now very drastically in the last 6 months. And it's become more known, but it's still not being treated. So despite the fact that people are talking about it, and there's definitely an awareness that something's wrong, like it's very wrong. It's a lot of human rights violations that go unchecked. It's happening when somebody like Obama is in office, right? It's going right under his nose, happening. We're all protesting, but no one's hearing us, But actually, with Obama, I think people did hear us, because I think one of his greatest assets was that he was black,
Yes.
And so it caused people to kind of look at the African American population, because in a way he was an advocate for them, despite the fact that didn't really, his policies didn't show that.
True.
So, but anyway, despite that, everybody's talking about it every day. People are protesting, which is good. Black Lives Matter, the movement, bringing a lot of awareness about how often it happens. I mean, it's like 3 to 5 people per day that law enforcement officials kill in this country. So it's really alarming, and it's like an average of 1,100 to 1,600 people per year. And we're talking about American civilians.
Yes.
So and a lot of them are unarmed. A lot of them are not doing anything wrong. There's a lot of like competition between like establishing voice. So families end up becoming marginalized immediately, right? They immediately have no power. The state has all the power, right? So the state, meaning the police, they're the representatives. Media already having an established relationship with the police. That's a symbiotic relationship that's been developing organically over time, right? And so they're going to have the official story.
Yes.
And that drastically changes the entire case. So Can I give an example?
Of course, yes.
Okay, so for example, this summer, or last summer, summer of 2016, we saw like a couple of shootings that were kind of like bunched together.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
So we had, well, you know about them. Do you remember
Yes.
who was killed?
Yes.
This summer?
Oh, well, the Keith Childers? No, that was.
No, that was in Vegas.
Yes, yes.
Last December.
Yes.
Yes, but over the summer there were some really big
Yes.
national cases.
Yes.
So Philando Castile,
yes.
right, who the girlfriend was live streaming on Facebook, right?
Yes.
So that was absolutely surreal and
Which was
horrendous.
right after the shooting in Louisiana.
Exactly. Yes.
Alton Sterling. Yes.
Right. So those are the two national cases that happened over the summer, right? But in between, actually, I think it was first. There was a shooting in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
Delron Small Dempsey, and what had happened was he and a lot of people, like a lot of my folks, you know, I'm from New York, so everybody in New York, well, not everybody, but probably a lot of people in New York know about Delron Small Dempsey's case. But when you go outside of New York, people are like, who's that? You know, whereas most people saw the live stream of Philando Castile, you know, because she was live streaming, you know, and that went viral and it just blew up. And on top of that, it gave her the power, it gave her, the family, I mean, I don't really know how the family's doing in terms of their case, but the family had had the ability to kind of take hold of that narrative.
Yes.
Like, this is what's happening.
Yes.
Real time live stream. My boyfriend just got shot. You're seeing the officer like be all shaky and everything, right, in the window.
Absolutely.
And she's just really, really calm. She has a kid in the back seat. You know, she's
so
super
disturbing.
calm.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's crazy, right? But because she did that, social media played a role in allowing people like people who get killed by police, you know, people who experience that kind of trauma, to have that first person narrative.
Yes.
Right. And so that's like really the biggest deal. So going into how this relates to Delron Dempsey, so what happened was, it was a road rage situation. I think he had, maybe the officer cut him off, or he cut off the, I don't know what happened, but they were obviously in conflict.
Yes.
And they both stopped, and then Delron stepped out of his car and approached the cop's car. And then all we knew was that the cop shot him, you know. Once we found out that Delron was dead, you know, the story started coming out, and you know, in the media, you know. So in the media they were saying, oh, well, you know, he sucker punched the cop several times, and so the cop, you know, he was off duty, he was plain clothes, and you know, he shot him because he had to, you know, out of self-defense. So then all of a sudden, when you see social media, it's so crazy. You can see all of this real time. You see comments on Delron's case, like maybe it's like a newspaper article or something, and they're just like, F him, you know, like, I would have shot him too, you know, for doing that, you know, just saying really hateful things. But the reason why they're saying it is because they're thinking, okay, well, if I were in that situation and, you know, somebody was punching me, well, yeah, I'm going to defend myself, I'm going to kill this person, you know, out of self-defense, right? And that was the police's official story. So the families here and they're waiting for days until, you know, the video can be released, or they can see the video, you know? And when they see the video, it's like, you know, they release it, right? The family sees the video first, I think, and then they release the video out to the public. But at that point, the time period has been like, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks or something. So people have already made their decision about this case. Like, oh, okay, well, you know what? The cop's not at fault. You know, they've already made their decision. You know, they've already like wrote this person off who's gone. You know, who's like the son of, you know, he's like the son, he's a brother, you know, he's got kids, you know what I mean? So, so yeah, anyway, rest in peace, Delron Small Dempsey. I feel really, it's hard to be in this position and talk about, you know, certain cases, because I don't represent the families. I'm just someone who works with them. You know, I really wish that they could be here. And so what I do when I do talk about, you know, these cases, I really try to, you know, acknowledge their names, acknowledge their families, you know, because it's really important that, you know, their voices are heard, you know. So.
Well, and kind of in speaking with that, there's an organization that you're also involved with the Justice for Families.
Families United for Justice.
Families United for Justice. Yeah, go ahead and talk about your work that you're doing with that.
So Families United for Justice started in 2014.
Okay.
In the fall in New York. A family member, her name is Cynthia Howell. If she's watching, God bless you, Cynthia. She is a family member of Alberta Sproul, who was killed by the NYPD in 2003, May 16th, 2003. She was working for the Mayor Bloomberg at the time. She was, in her 50s, just a churchgoer, loved in her community. Everyone knew her. She was, just someone that was a good citizen.
Yes.
And she was getting ready for work at 7 in the morning, and all of a sudden the cops raided her apartment. It was a no-knock warrant. Her apartment had been implicated in drug trafficking, which was completely untrue. And they threw a flash grenade in the kitchen. It blew up. It got all over her, and she ended up having a heart attack in the ambulance. So, rest in peace, Alberta Sproul. But it's very, very sad. But anyway, going back to Cynthia. Cynthia has been, advocating for families for a long time, even before the killing. Her aunt was killed, and she always felt like there wasn't a place for the families, for the families to be in a place where they could really have their needs kind of taken care of. Because a lot of the times in activist communities, obviously it's like a collision of stuff. It's like a collision of cultures. You have activists who care, who want to help, but they may not necessarily be thinking about needs, human needs of half my income is gone because my partner's gone.
Right.
I have kids to feed, and they're not thinking about those things. They're kind of thinking about, okay, well, how can we change this system? How can we, this person here is an example of what happens, and so what ends up happening a lot of the time is with the families, they kind of get not forgotten, but their needs get forgotten in the activist community, and I'm not trying to blame anybody for this or blame, any activist communities for this. It's just that it obviously takes a lot for all of us to approach this issue.
Absolutely.
So with Cynthia, she and I started talking about creating something for the families where families could come and meet together and just be families, just families only, where they can kind of really share their resources and talk about their needs and everything.
Absolutely.
So we started forming a collective of families in 2014, getting everybody on the same listserv, getting everyone connected, phone numbers, just let's think. A lot of families already knew each other, but to kind of have a collective is kind of encouraging them to create more of a bond with each other, because they share a very unique experience.
Absolutely.
That nobody knows about, really.
Yes.
So we started doing that, and having meetings. We've had a couple of events. We've tried to utilize it to garner support from outside communities. So we kind of have we've been working with Black Lives Matter in New York, and they helped us in doing press conferences and fundraisers.
Definitely.
They're helping us organize the conference in Detroit.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, sorry, I'm getting off track. It's so multi-layered. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's so multi-layered that I could talk for hours, but I don't know if it would make sense.
No, we get it and we understand, and I personally, and I know a lot of viewers can relate to this too, we appreciate the work that you do, because this is something that is very clearly a need that has not been met before, and something that it's there. It's not going away. The fact that the loss of their family member, and the struggles that they're going through, you're right. It's incredibly unique to their situations, and so I'm happy that you're involved in such amazing work. And speaking of that, definitely wanted to highlight your work that you're doing in Haiti as well.
Oh yes. Okay, so how are we doing on time in terms of? Okay. So the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, I think it was January 12th.
Yes.
That was devastating. You know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people were killed. I mean, it probably was like 500,000 or something. It was a lot of people. And my partner, Oja, is Haitian. And I think during that time he was going through, trying to figure out what he wanted to do. And then when that happened in Haiti, he was just like, I have to go back. I have to go, and I have to help the community and just be connected to my roots and everything. So he started going back, and then I started going with him. And at first, it was just kind of like a documentary type of a thing.
Yes.
You know, we started taking a lot of pictures and telling stories and recording stories and things like that, and just trying to get connected to the community there. And then a few years down the road, he got certified to build earthships. So they're fully earthships are earthship earthship.com, I think. Yeah, singular, not ships. So ship. It's a fully sustainable structure that's made out of 70% recyclable materials.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's really incredible. They have concave roofs that catch water, and so then you have like control over your own water source.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so then it goes through a filtering system, and so when you shower, it feeds your indoor garden, and when you go to the bathroom, you flush the toilet, it feeds your outdoor garden. So,
so cool.
Yeah, so you're growing your own food.
Yes.
You have solar panel on the outside, and that's your energy source, and so you're living completely off grid. And in these times, where America is very, very vulnerable to digital attack, because if you haven't seen 0 Days, you should check it out. It's about Obama's situation with Iran and this cyber attack that he had planned with Israel. So it's a really good documentary, and it's very important. And it's very important that people understand how close we are to a complete disaster.
Yes.
In terms of losing power, in terms of losing, actually what I mean is electricity.
Yes.
You know, and how connected we are and how dependent we have become on technology.
Yes.
We really need to start building the infrastructure to not be so dependent on the system.
Yes.
Because especially now in these times with the current presidential situation, we're so, like, everything is unpredictable. You know, every day is unpredictable. I mean, every day I'm watching Democracy Now! Make sure you check democracynow.org every day. You know, it's just such a dire situation, and, you know, things are happening so quickly.
They really are. They really are. Whether you fall on whichever side of the aisle that you fall on, this affects all of us.
Right.
And I feel that, you know, these are conversations we need to be having with each other.
Most definitely.
You know, so
yeah,
I'm glad
you're here.
Track
again.
No.
About what's happening in Haiti. So right now we're in the middle of so he went and he got certified to build these earthships. He graduated from the academy.
Yes.
And so he's in Haiti now on about 3 years now, going back and forth in the last 3 years, working on a project to build a community center for the Jacmel community. So it's really important because it's on the community's land, whereas before they had, I think there was like some landlord issues, but now it's on the land that the community owns. So it's like it's really going to be theirs. Yeah.
That is absolutely wonderful. Is it more of like rather than one single owner owning it, or is it like more of a community collective ownership?
I think there's a couple of owners. I think they're from the community.
Gotcha. Okay.
But in terms of the school itself, you know, they're opening it for the community. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. You're doing amazing work, and we love what you do. And that's why I really wanted to have you on the show to really talk about the important work that you do. And so if anybody wants to get in touch with you in terms of helping out with any of these projects or any information, how can people get in touch with you?
I would say forcetrajectory.org.
Absolutely.
Actually, .com is what it is.
Yes.
There's a way to contact me through the website.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thanks,
it's been a wonderful show. And that's it for us today for another wonderful show of the Guy Dawson Show here at WCOBM.com. And for all of you viewers out there, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.